fairly functional, but it's now 9:01, so I'm going to call this meeting to order. Can we have a roll call first?
Chaplin,
Here.
Desart,
Here.
Hart, Ozad,
Here.
Tornatori,
Here.
Zay.
Okay. Now I have, under Chairman's remarks, I have two issues that I want to look at today or talk about today. The first one, when we had our planning meeting last Monday, there was a contract that we were going to discuss today for about $10 million in contract management and construction. And I had asked to see the RFPs for this contract. And as was explained to me yesterday by Mr. Kottmeyer, we were going to go ahead with this contract similar to how we did the CARES money. And I've requested that this contract be sent back. This is a $10 million contract. And I've requested that this contract be sent back to our finance department and it will go through an RFP process. We are not under the same time constraints that we were to spend the CARES money. So I want to be sure that this one is put out for RFP and we follow the correct process. So we're going to be talking about this contract when it's got through the RFP process and it will come back to us. The other issue I want to discuss is the proposal that was brought forward on the 17th of August. And this was to do some remodeling in the caucus room, but more importantly, to reconfigure the offices for the staff or for the board, and also the staff could also use. Unfortunately, we received a FOIA that afternoon, which is fine, but there was also social media comments that were related to this was a wasteful decorating project, et cetera. So what I want to share today, first of all, is our sign that we have right outside the elevators. And avoid in-person meetings, use online conferencing, email or phone when possible, even when people are in the same building. Second, unavoidable in-person meetings should be short in a large meeting room where people can sit at least 3 feet from each other. Avoid shaking hands. So the proposal, I'm at this point going to bring the proposal to remodel the board offices forward in a couple of months. Right now, our major priority has to be spending the ARPA money in a responsible manner, and also the budget. We have to prepare the 2022 budget. So those are obviously the committee's major focuses right now. But going forward, there is definitely a reason to reconfigure the board offices. These offices are currently they're very close in. There's 7 of these offices, poor ventilation, very difficult to do social distancing. And no matter what, we are looking at COVID restrictions for I think the long haul future, not a few weeks or months. And I saw references that I was wasteful to bring this forward. We've spent millions of dollars on this campus, the care center, the jail, et cetera, working on, and especially the judicial, the court system, making COVID responsible or COVID safe areas throughout the entire campus. And I believe that opening up these offices to 1 office and 2 conference rooms, also in a secure area, we have to use a pass card to get into them, is a reasonable proposition. And seeing references to myself as wasteful on social media about this particular issue is completely, it's just not true. This is about COVID and about having useful spaces. I was going to meet with my 2 District 4 people and had to propose that I would meet downstairs in the atrium area, because I also, and I'm going to disclose my own personal situation, I suffer from a serious autoimmune disease. And I believe that we should be able to, as board members, have a meeting area which is COVID compliant. So we'll talk about this again, but I am bringing this proposal forward because of COVID, and I think it's the most useful area or the best way to utilize our space. Okay, now moving on to our agenda. I'd like to move, do we have any public comment today? Okay. Do we have approval? Can I have the approval of the minutes?
So moved.
Okay. Do I have a second? Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And any against? Okay. Next, payment of claims, Public Works and Facilities Management. And I have a motion to accept. Okay,
Second.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Next on our agenda, I move for approval of FMP 036721. Recommendation for the approval of a contract with Wold Architects and Engineers to provide on-call professional architectural and engineering services as needed for facilities management for a period September 20th, 2021 through November 30th, 2024, for a total contract amount not to exceed $250,000, vetted through a qualification-based selection process in compliance with Illinois Local Government Professional Services Selection Act.
So moved.
Can I have a second, please? I moved, so.
Oh, second.
Okay, second from member to start. Any discussion about this contract?
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
thank you, Chairwoman. I would just like, just tell me what this is about. I mean, I know that when we have a project to do, we go out for an RFP or an RFQ, but why do we need on-call services?
So this,
In the contract, I looked for a specific project, or I looked at the scope of the work on page 34, and I didn't see anything specific. So what, just, I just want to learn
so
more
it's
about
a 3-year contract for 250,000 Wold Architects. And what it is, we have small design projects that pop up across the campus. And this allows us to do, you know, $2,000 or $3,000 design for something. So we're not going out for all of these. And these pop up various departments all the time, you know, move this wall, do that. And this allows the facilities management and Tim and his staff to react very quickly. So basically it's basically another partner by our side for these small projects. Obviously, when we have a big project, we go out and that's a standalone project. But there's a lot of small projects where we get the design done here, and then we may very well do the construction in-house.
Great.
And this gives us a lot of flexibility.
Okay, any other questions? We have a second. All in favor? Aye. Any against? Okay. Number 8, we have a sole source. I move for approval of 2021-79. Recommendation for the approval of a contract to Fuel Tech Systems LLC to furnish and deliver 2 fuel polishing systems, equipment parts and maintenance supplies for above ground fuel tanks for facilities management for a total contract amount not to exceed $15,851.26 per 55 ILCS competitive bids, not suitable for competitive bids, sole provider of equipment.
Second.
Okay, and I have a second. And any discussion or questions on this issue? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Next, we have a bid renewal. Paper here. Okay, bid renewal. I move for approval of FMP 036821. Recommendation for the approval of a contract to Arlington Glass and Mirror for on-call window glazing, repair, replacement, window adjustment, and board-up services is needed for county facilities for facilities management for the 2-year period, October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2023 for a contract total amount not to exceed $70,000. Renewal option under bid award on 1960 FM, first and final option to renew. Anyone have any comments? Or can I have a second first of all? Okay, second from member Chaplin. And any comments, questions about this item? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
And no opposed? Thank you. Next, I move to approve PWP 036921. Recommendation for the approval of a contract for Polydyne Incorporated to supply polymer for the Woodridge and Knollwood wastewater treatment facilities for Public Works for the period November 1st, 2021 through October 31st, 2022 for a contract total amount not to exceed $270,000 per renewal option under bid award 1977 PW, second of 3 possible renewals.
Second.
I have a second. And again, any discussion, comments about this? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and no opposed? Thank you. Next, I'm going to move on to a contract increase item. I move for approval of PWCO 0031A20. Recommendation for the approval of an amendment to resolution PWCO 003120 and PWP 025919. Issued to Polydyne Incorporated due to changing biological phosphorus removal, which increases sludge production for Public Works to increase the contract in the amount of $70,000, taking the original contract amount of $174,452.85 and resulting in an amended contract amount not to exceed $244,452.85, an increase of 40.13%. Member Chapman, or I'm sorry, second from Member Desart.
So-
Okay, and then Member Chapman.
Yeah, so we look at these contracts and we see that, the expenses have increased at, the Green Valley and the Knoll wastewater treatment facility. So is that, what's causing the increase in this?
This one's actually pretty easy. So with improved or increased environmental standards that have been placed on our department, we are generating more sludge especially at our Knollwood facility, because now we have chemical additives, so it generates more sludge. The polymer is simply, think of it as glue that holds the sludge together so we can haul it off more. So we're generating more, we need more glue to hold it together.
Okay.
And so it's purely a function of, we are now generating more sludge at our treatment plants, and we need to haul this off. And the drier and more compact we can get the sludge, the cheaper it is, because obviously the wetter the sludge is, it costs far more for us. So our job is to make it as compact and dry as possible, and the polymer helps us get there.
Okay.
So the more sludge we generate, the more polymer we're gonna need.
Now, in terms of this particular issue with polymer, have you noticed just any significant increase in the polymer product itself?
The supply chain is stressed out there for polymer, without a doubt. It's definitely stressed out there. And if you notice on B, 9B above, this is the new contract for next year as well.
Right.
And that incorporates the increased levels of polymer needed, as well as the market analysis for that. We look very closely, and we are still very confident that these are the best prices we can get, even with the market increase, supply chain. They've been very dependable in delivering. But yes, this is absolutely an affected supply issue that we have.
Right. Okay, thanks so much.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe you can bring examples of the sludge to us?
Happy to bring it in. Happy to bring it in.
I'm sure we could go on a tour and see the
Yeah,
sludge, right?
that'd be great.
Yeah. Take a
Been
field
there,
trip.
done
We're very proud of our sludge.
Okay, all in favor of item number 10? Any opposed? Okay, great, thank you. Okay, now we move on to action items. I move for approval of FMP 037021, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Nicor Gas for natural gas utility and distribution services for county facilities or facilities management for the 4-year period October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2025, for a total contract amount not to exceed $925,850.70 per 55 ILCS competitive bids, not suitable for competitive bids, public utility.
Second.
Any discussion about this issue? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And our next action item, next and final, I move for approval of PWP 037121. Recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Nicor Gas for natural gas services for public works for a period October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2025, for a total contract amount not to exceed $515,000 per 55 ILCS 551022 competitive bids, not suitable for competitive bidding, public utility.
Okay.
Second by Mr. Zag. Any discussion about this? Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next, any old business? Member Chapman.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. Just to follow up on your comments a little bit under your chairman's remarks. Yesterday, I met with our new IT director, Anthony, and he said, Member Chaplain, anytime we can meet in your office. And I kind of chuckled. I said, have you seen my office? I said, because I would not take anybody back in my office. And if I do meet with people from the public, it's usually like at a Starbucks or Panera or one of these rooms, because our offices are not really usable, and especially during COVID. So I just want to thank you, Member Renahan, for being proactive on that and making sure that, the county board members have an office that we can bring constituents in comfortably, safely, and even have meetings with staff. But I thought it was funny because when you said, I can come to your office, I'm like, yeah, I know you don't want to see my office. So, and I do share it with 2 other people. And, you know, it's very small. So I appreciate your efforts in that.
In follow up to that also, again, these offices at the moment are certainly not COVID conducive, and we will be bringing this forward. And on top of that, this is a far bigger issue that we're dealing with than references that were made on social media to decorating. I found those remarks to be sexist, and this is a serious issue. We should have a safe, secure place to meet, as well as staff, because we don't own these offices, and staff would be able to use these. It'd be one office and 2 meeting areas, 2 smaller conference areas. So we'll revisit this after the budget is over, probably before the first of the year, but I appreciate your comments, Member
Thank you.
Chaplin. Okay, anyone else I'm sorry, Member Renahan.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to weigh in to say the same thing. We're really talking about COVID renovation here. So thank you for your comments on reconfiguring what I would call our member workspace. It's far from really a private office, although I have seen some very creative comments as to what we actually share. So just, I want to share for the record, for the public who's never been back there, and they can certainly accompany me anytime. 3 people all share one office chair. We share one desk. And we share about 200 pounds of 1970s metal file cabinets and maybe some old paper from the 80s. I mean, these member workspaces really bringing down the walls would probably be a good thing for health consideration for COVID. And so I'm supportive of just minimal cost.
Minimal.
It's kind of one of those things when you clean things out, and you're doing a renovation, you clean things out and they get way, way better. I think that's kind of what we're looking at here.
This is not about aesthetics in any way. This is about proper HVAC circulation and having a space where you can be socially distanced. So
And all of us on this board know that.
any other reference to that is really inappropriate. That's what this plan is for, and we will revisit it later on in the year. Any other comments under old business? Mr. Zay?
Yeah, I apologize for being late. I was meeting with Barb Lyman from the League of Women Voters in the cafeteria, which we were by ourselves in the cafeteria. So there's plenty of space to be socially distanced here in this building. So we're
But
the
it's
only
also
ones in the
not,
cafeteria.
Mr. Zay, it's also not particularly conducive to private conversations. And if we wanted to discuss, for instance,
We were
District
the only
4,
ones in the cafeteria.
that's fine. But I think that we should have a COVID responsible workplace. And on top of that, this is not our offices. It can certainly be used by staff. So staff can use this area to have a COVID responsible area. And it's also secured. You have to use a passcode key to get into this area. So we'll revisit this in a few months. Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, hearing none. Any new business? Okay, hearing no new business. I move to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you,
I'll second
everyone.
that motion, and then I'll say
Second
aye.
and aye. Thank you.